So everyone who's asked me about gallbladder problems, and to those people who have asked about gallstones, I thought it was time I did a podcast about this. I'm Susan Birch, and welcome to the Health Detective podcast. Gallbladder problems and gallstones are extremely common. Every week, I have clients come and ask me what they can do about poor gallbladder function or how they can support digesting fat when their gallbladder has been removed. Before I talk about solutions, let's take a look at why we have a gallbladder in the first place. The gallbladder was an essential organ for our ancestors who ate a lot of fat and protein. We need special digestive juices and enzymes to break down these fats so we can absorb the fatty acids and the fat-soluble vitamins. Bile is important in this process. Bile is made in our liver, but it gets stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. And when we eat fat, this bile is ejected into our small intestine to start the digestive process. Another important job for bile is to eliminate old and damaged red blood cells called bilirubin. Bilirubin is made in the liver and transported to the gallbladder, where it's incorporated in the bile and eliminated in our stools. Gallstones are made out of cholesterol or bilirubin crystals. If your gallbladder isn't ejecting bile often enough, it can become stagnant. And that means that these crystals then start to form and they get bigger and bigger, and then eventually they lead to gallstones. These can then end up blocking the bile duct, and that's why people get pain and sometimes nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. You might experience rapid heartbeat and also unusual stools. To keep your gallbladder healthy and working properly, you need to eat enough fat to keep the bile moving. This is why gallbladder and gallstones are more likely to occur in people who follow low-calorie and low-fat diets. They're also common in people who have lost a lot of weight quickly, such as after they've had gastric surgery. And unfortunately, many of these people have had their gallbladders removed. And it used to be standard practice after gastric surgery to have your gallbladder taken out. If you don't have a gallbladder or are suffering from gallstones or discomfort when you eat fat, there are some things you can do. Even if you don't have a gallbladder, the liver will still make bile. Now, if you've been eating a low-fat diet for a while, it can take some time for bile production to increase. You can support your digestion with ox bile and special digestive enzymes. If you've been eating low fat, take your time to increase how much of this you do eat. And I recommend using fats such as coconut oil. These are particularly helpful because they contain medium chain triglycerides and they don't require bile and pancreatic enzymes for digestion. I also recommend supplementing with the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K2 if you don't have a gallbladder or if your fat intake is low. Adding some fiber with your food may also help slow down digestion and put less strain on your liver to produce a lot of bile at once. And over time, your liver will ramp up its production, and then you should be able to get back into a more normal eating pattern. If you still have your gallbladder, but are suffering from digestive problems when you eat fat, it is possible to restore the function, but this can take some time. The recommendation is start with small amounts of healthy fats at each meal and find a level that you can tolerate, and remember to include the coconut oil if you need to up that fat intake. Eating smaller meals 3 to 4 times a day can also be really useful in the beginning. And once again, include those digestive enzymes and fat-soluble vitamins. It helps to avoid fasting and eating large meals until you do get your bile function restored. In the beginning, you want to keep the bile flowing regularly. And so this is why eating small meals with small amounts of fat will help you do that. And then over time, you can increase the time between meals and reduce the number of meals you eat each day. Even though we can survive without a gallbladder, I think it's worth saving if you can. We have a reason, we have it for a reason, and it does serve a really important role in our health. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe and hit the like and share button. You are most welcome to download the free resources from my webpage and to join my mailing list for newsletters and updates. You can now find the Health Detective podcast on all your podcast apps. Thank you.